Chapter 4, Lesson 3, Multiply Fractions. You will be able to multiply fractions. Multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators to find each product. So our numerators, 1 times 1 is 1. Our denominators, 3 times 4 is 12. And this is in simplest form. So that's our answer. That's our product. Letter B, multiply your numerators. 1 times 3 is 3. Your denominators, 2 times 5 is 10. And 3/10 also cannot be reduced. Letter C, your numerators, 1 times 3 is 3. Your denominators, 3 times 4 is 12. This one I can divide by 3, and I would get 1/4 as the reduced fraction. Letter D, 2/3 times 5/6. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 6 is 18. I can divide both of these by 2, and I would get 5/9 as the reduced product. Letter E, 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 5 is 15, and that is reduced. Letter F, 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 8 is 32. And that is also reduced. The only factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. And aside from 1, none of those numbers go into 32. So that's reduced. Letter G. Rick has 1/2 of a foot-long sub left from yesterday. He ate 1/3 of the leftover sandwich as a snack. What fraction of the entire sandwich did he eat as a snack? So he ate 1/3 times 1/2. He had half left, and he ate 1/3 of that. Multiply them together. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So what fraction of the entire sandwich did he eat as a snack? 1/6 of the sandwich. Now, there is a little bit faster way that you can find the products in that you don't have to reduce at the end. Instead of reducing at the end, you can reduce in the beginning. So, for example, letter A, 2/3 and 5/6. Now, if you look at any numerator and any denominator, you can try and reduce ahead of time. So, for example, 2 and 6 are both even numbers. That means they're both divisible by 2. So let me rewrite this a little bit bigger. Since 2 and 6, a numerator and a denominator, are both divisible by 2, I can really divide by 2 before I even start. So this 2 becomes a 1, and the 6 divided by 2, the 6 becomes a 3. And there's nothing else I can reduce, so now I multiply across with my new numbers. 1 times 5 is 5, and 3 times 3 is 9. And because I did that ahead of time, I don't have to reduce at the end. So you can reduce in the beginning or the end, whichever you prefer. But it's very important to remember it's got to be a numerator and a denominator only. So let's take a look at letter B. Again, I'm going to write this a little bit bigger. We have 3/4. Let me fix that. Okay, we have 3/4 times 5/6. The numerator 3 and 6 can be reduced. The numerator 3, denominator 6, can be reduced. Well, I can divide them both by 3. So this becomes a 1, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 6 divided by 3 is 2, so this denominator becomes a 2. Your numerators, 1 times 5 is 5. Your denominators, 4 times 2 is 8. And it's already reduced. You can really use any method you prefer. If you would rather reduce at the end, by all means, reduce at the end. This is just a nice little shortcut way that can make it a little bit faster of a process. And when you have smaller numbers, it's easier to multiply. For example, in letter C, we have 4/9 times, now this is a whole number, so we need to put 18 over 1. If you were to do this the normal way, you would multiply 4 times 18, then you would multiply 9 times 1, and then you would reduce. However, what makes this a longer problem to do is the fact that I don't know what 4 times 18 is off the top of my head. I would have to do some multiplication on the side to figure it out, which is perfectly fine and perfectly correct. However, if I want to make smaller numbers, I look to see what I can reduce. 9 and 18 I can reduce. Again, a numerator and denominator. They are both divisible by 9. So 9 divided by 9 would make this 1, and 18 divided by 9 would make this 2. By doing that simple reduction in the beginning, I now have smaller numbers to work with and can therefore do this in my head. 4 times 2 is 8. And your denominator, 1 times 1 is 1. And this, since I have 1 in the denominator, 8 divided by 1 is 8. It now made the process faster. So let's take a look at letter D. We have 3/4 times 4/9. Well, the 3 and the 9 can be reduced. I can divide them by 3. And that would become 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And actually, if you take a look at it, I've got a 4 and a 4, which can also be reduced by dividing by 4. So this becomes a 1, and this becomes a 1. So really what I have, if you look what's in red, I have 1 over 1 times 1 over 3. So our numerators, 1 times 1 is 1. Our denominators, 1 times 3 is 3. Now, moving on to letter E, we have 5 over 6 times 9 over 10. Well, it looks like 5 and 10 I can reduce by dividing each by 5. 5 divided by 5 gives us 1, and 10 divided by 5 gives us 2. 6 and 9 I can also reduce by dividing by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now looking at the purple numbers, 1 times 3 is 3 over 2 times 2 is 4, and that is reduced. Letter F, 3/5 times 10 over 1. Well, 5 and 10 I can both divide by 5. And whenever you have a 1, that's the smallest you can get, so smallest factor you can get, so leave it there. Don't need to do anything with that. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. And of course, 6 over 1, or 6 divided by 1, is 6. Letter G. Frank had half of the lawn left to mow. On Saturday, he mowed 2/3 of what was left. What fraction of the entire lawn did Frank mow on Saturday? So 1/2 of the lawn was left, and he wanted to mow 2/3 of what was left on Saturday. Multiply those together. So I've got the factors 2 and 2, which I can divide them each by 2 since they're the same number. 2 divided by 2 is 1 for both of those. and multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. Our denominators, 1 times 3 is 3. So what fraction of the entire lawn? 1/3 of the entire lawn.